just a few minutes.
Okay, Larry will be here.
Yeah,
He will be
Chuck tested,
arriving.
he forgot, he said he'll be here.
Okay. All right, so we will call the September 2017 Village Board meeting to order. Roll call?
Ingram?
Yes.
Duval?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
Markwell?
Yes.
St. John?
Yes.
Stoltz will be here directly.
Okay, first item is minutes from August. Y'all received them in your packet. Questions, comments on the meeting or the minutes from August?
They all look good to me. I'll make a motion to accept those.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Call for vote.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
What did you say?
Yes.
Bills payable.
If you could you read those out loud and pay special emphasis to the Taylor Law ones? I'd like to know a little bit what's on them, if there's any.
Let me see what we do have.
First, you want the Amsterdam job application?
Yeah, we ran out of applications.
Oh, they're just, that's what it is, job application. Okay.
And when we
Okay,
order them,
okay.
we order them by the
Okay.
gross.
Okay.
Can you make a copy of this, Brian?
Sure.
And then we'll just provide it. Does anybody else want a copy? Can you just make a copy of that for him?
Okay.
Thank you.
Motion, Josh.
Can you wait just a second
Oh, yeah.
until you make a copy?
Oh, yeah.
Would be my guess.
Yeah. Plus styrofoam isn't environmentally friendly.
Be the most water that's
Tree hugger and she cuts me.
And she.
Stepped in that one, didn't you?
Oh, man.
I don't got them now.
She just pitches the ball.
You spill that cup, Jordan, that'll be the most water that's hit the ground in 3 months.
That's right.
Sure, I gave it. I gave it to you. Oh, you gave it. Okay, so I just ran coffee on
I guess I can add more by more.
Okay.
What the applications were all about.
Okay. Bills payable.
I'll make a motion to pay those other bills.
Second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Call for vote.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. Tony Sparks. Mr. Sparks is here tonight to talk to us about the Neal Center YMCA. So I'm going to turn it over to Tony right now. Okay? Welcome.
Hello.
Thanks for having me. Where do I stand, right? Is this good?
Wherever. Yeah.
It's your meeting. Yeah. Well, anyway, thanks for having me. I'm the former CEO of the Mattoon Y and currently serving as the senior advisor. So
Hi.
With me tonight is Wade Bradley. You know Wade. Wade's the vice president of our board. And then Carol Jo Fritz is. I always get your title mixed up on the Neal Center Inc. board. The
Well,
treasurer.
I'm the treasurer, yeah.
Carol Jo has been very helpful to me during this process. As most of you know, Burnham Neal left a nice legacy for Cumberland County. He wanted a community center. The folks in Mattoon knew Burnham really well too. Burnham was first a neighbor of mine, and second was a great friend of the wife home. So when this started, the conversation started, it just got pretty natural real quick that the Mattoon Y, working with the Neal Foundation and the Neal Center Inc., come up with a YMCA. And 2 weeks ago, we shook hands, signed agreements to bring the Neal Center YMCA to Toledo. You all know the location. It's on the square. I've got. I hope I've got enough. There should be 7. I didn't think that. And there's take 2 sheets. You'll see. Yeah, you got it. So take 2 sheets, and you'll see what we're looking at. We're looking at a 33,000 square foot facility. It'll be a state-of-the-art YMCA. Need to say we are a nonprofit. The Neal Foundation and Burnham will provide the most of the funding to make it happen. Then there will be a public capital campaign to raise the rest of the money. So it's about a $4 million project, $4.5 million project all in, and then going forward, we're hoping for 500-600 members. We're hoping to just emulate what we're doing in Mattoon. We've got a very, very nice YMCA in Mattoon, and would encourage you all to come watch. And the idea is to bring it the same type of offerings, programs here to Toledo. So as we do this, if you'd flip, you start with the facility. Again, what you're looking at is the front facing from the west, from the courthouse. That's the look you'd have. And then turn the page, and you'll see the site plan. The courthouse square was chosen as the location for many reasons, and we think it'll be a wonderful addition to the square. But you'll notice real quick that we're using every square foot. We've got a 150 by 150 building on a lot that's about 153 by 158, something like that. So we're putting 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag. And the concern really became as we looked at the flow of traffic and the parking. How do we make this happen? How do we do it safely? How do we make it an efficient traffic pattern? You'll notice we're adding 47 parking places. The way the site plan is laid out today, there will be 5 handicapped, 3 in front of the front door to the north. The idea will be a one-way in from the front door, which is on the northwest corner of the northwest corner of the lot, and one-way wide enough entrance so that that we can have drop-offs, buses, senior drop-off, that kind of thing. So we need that to be one way. And so as we look at and then the idea will be to ring the rest of the building with parking, and then the 47 spaces to the north of the building. As we were doing this, it became really apparent that we need those two unused alleys, and so we're here tonight to figure out how to ask that you all vacate the alleys or give us a great easement so that we can maintain the flow of traffic and parking on those alleys. I've been down here pretty much 2 times a week since May 1st, I think is when we started talking. And I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but there's just no traffic in those. So we're hopeful that you all will consider doing that. The other question is more of a state of Illinois, but if I heard, Roger Charleston, by the way, did the site work. Been very pleased working with Roger and his team. Very, very knowledgeable, and anyway, you'll notice 3 handicap spaces in front of the front door. That's on the route there, and I think if I've heard it right, it's the state of Illinois. They'll approve it or not, but they may look to you all to bless it. So that's the second thing, is if you would bless that. Gosh, that's pretty much my shtick. I also put a copy of the floor plan. There's a downstairs and upstairs. You'll notice all the nice amenities, basketball courts, a nice swimming pool, jogging track, 2 fitness studios, a youth room, a nice area for free weights and cardio equipment. We just we think it'll just be a great addition to the community. Wade or Carol Jo, anything I've left out that you'd like to add?
Well, just that about the Center for Healthy Living.
Oh yeah. We've got simultaneously we've been working. I drive my board nuts, but I'll collaborate with just about anybody who will work with us. You know, I just feel pretty strongly that in the nonprofit world that friends everywhere, especially in the area of youth or health and wellness. And about 3 weeks ago, we announced a partnership with Sarah Bush Lincoln to use their Center for Healthy Living as a location for the YMCA. And we're looking at this. We'll have three stops in our Y network: the Toledo, the Mattoon, and the Center for Healthy Living. Sarah Bush has been a great partner with the Y, and we notice they've got a nice presence down here too, of course.
And the Center for Healthy Living affords other nice things that the Y doesn't have.
The whole, thank you.
Sorry.
No, this is good. The thing that they do, they've got physician prescribed fitness programs for those who really shouldn't be on their own at a YMCA. And so the idea is they, as those folks graduate out of that program, they'll graduate right to the Y, whether they go downtown, whether they come to Toledo, whether they remain at the Center for Healthy Living. And because they're a hospital, they cannot offer the same program to youth. And so one of the things is we're going to offer that at our place, and the physicians prescribed piece will happen across town. So it's just a pretty cool partnership we've got going.
And we're mentioning how many, in case it's not clear, our membership here is also included in that too.
That's the plan, yes. It'll all be part of the same same umbrella. Yeah.
And our pool won't be quite as big as the Mattoon pool, so, but still, children can learn how to swim and do laps, and we can have water aerobics and all those things. But if they do want to do competition swimming, is the Mattoon pool
That's right.
works.
Mhm.
So if they do wanna go up there.
The
they
pool
can.
here, we haven't got the exact design yet. We're still, the hardest, bless you. The hardest part in this whole process isn't the YUSA approval or isn't some of this, it's the pool permitting process. And so we've got to work through that. Someone asked about 6 weeks, that may hold that up, so.
And I just have one
Oh,
other
keep
thing
going.
about the Neil Center. Neil Center Inc. was just an idea, as you guys know, and and when I heard about Burnham's money that he was giving, I talked to the former mayor, and I asked if it was okay if we put a group together, and the former mayor just, go ahead, sure, that's great, Well, we wouldn't have the foundation for Neil Center Inc. if it weren't for Tracy Willenberg helping us and doing that for free. And she did all that for free for us, and we didn't know what we were doing and held our hand through the whole thing, so we really appreciate that. But, buying the properties, doing all that stuff, we were just in a quandary as to, how everybody was, how you gonna run it, how you gonna sustain it, and then it was like a prayer was answered, when we finally got together with the Y at Mattoon, and I started bending Tony's ear on this.
Oh, yeah, we
three
talked,
years ago
yeah,
or
shortly
something.
after Burnham passed.
Yeah.
It's almost 5 years now.
Yeah, when I started
Yeah.
talking to him, having no idea that we would be where we are today. But anyway, we greatly appreciate you, Tracy, and no, really, I'm serious.
I know.
I'm serious.
I'm embarrassed.
No, I know. But we greatly appreciate the Y for coming here.
It's been
so.
good. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Fire away.
Are you looking at a early 2019 start date on construction, Tony, or?
Actually.
Or 18, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
There are 2 or 3 things that'll affect when we'll break ground. We have pretty well settled on the exterior design and the interior design, which were the big deals. Sandra Walk is who we're using, a wonderful architect, by the way, and she's finishing up the plans. We're hopeful to do a design build with Waltman. Doug and has been good so far. We're not married to him yet. We haven't seen his pricing, of course, but we're hopeful to go that way. So our hope is we get YUSA approval here in the next few weeks, and that's the first trigger. The second trigger will be making sure that the project comes in under our budget. And then the third trigger is the pool and the pool design process. Now that probably won't stop us from groundbreaking. And then the fourth trigger is we do need to do a capital campaign, so we'll have some of that. Anyway, my hope is, John, that we'll break ground no later than December 1st, is my hope. Please, I know I'm on recording. But, that's a hope.
I thought it was November.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to say the November date, but if I come in and say, here's November 1, you'll know everything went perfect.
I'm teasing.
Well, November is really what I'd like, but it's just everything's going to have to be perfect to get there.
And I think the alley is coming up as a later discussion item because I'd love to make it simple, but guess what? The law doesn't always make it simple, so that's coming up later.
Any other questions for Tony or Wade?
Good.
Well, we just wish you luck.
Oh,
Yes,
And thank you for doing it.
It's been a really good project so far.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed it. So,
If you have brochures you want to leave.
Oh, yeah, let me,
And Carol, it only takes one person to create a spark, so.
Oh, thank you.
she did it.
Thank you.
She did it.
There's
Just a few brochures, and there's nothing fancy. One,
We're not singing.
this is, we had to do this for part of the YUSA application, so this isn't our final marketing piece, but it's the next step. And the CEO, Blake's number's on there. If you have any questions, call him, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
And Blake's
I just
Blake's
see what the
wonderful.
membership's gonna
Those
be.
of you who haven't met him, he's a wonderful guy.
He's dealing with a sick child tonight, so otherwise he would have
That's a
been.
lot of
Unbeknownst to the board, Tony asked me if I would write a letter to try to, to welcome this project, and so I took it upon myself to do that. So, and he said it sounded good.
We had a lot of good letters.
You got other letters
We
also,
did.
did you?
We had a lot of
We
good
had,
letters.
I forgot what the final count was, but we had some very nice community
Well,
support letters.
when I met with you the last time, you said you were hoping to get 12, and at that time I thought you said you had 20.
And I think we
So-
ended up with like 24.
Yeah, so-
Somewhere.
So that's great. Okay, the Neal Foundation, I'm assuming, Carol, that is you about,
I'm Neil Center Inc.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
That's John Barger, and he's not here. We can talk about it. We met with him recently.
Okay, courthouse
More than I-
streetlights, so
Yeah.
inform us what that's about, if you would.
Had it
We
in
put
your
a letter in your packet, an email from John Barger. For that.
Okay,
They just want
A blessing,
a
more or
blessing
less,
to go ahead.
to refurbish the ornamental lights on the square.
oh, okay.
They're wanting a blessing from Cumberland County and the village.
Because nobody's really sure who owns them.
We've always maintained them, but
They're on county grounds, so.
So how many lights are
Joyce, John, I don't
I think there's
remember
12.
when, but Gary Nelson was employed here, and he did some rewiring on that many years ago
Mm-hmm.
on the streetlights. He took, as part of the village, of rewiring the streetlights back, and that's probably been 25 years ago. But that was the last time.
gosh, what was it? We went back to what, 30s, and they were there in the 30s.
They're in the pictures out here. They're probably not the same one.
So they wanting them
Just our
replaced, just
Refurbished.
Refurbished.
Okay.
Mhm.
stay with that same
Yeah.
design and, yeah.
I think the plan was that they were gonna have somebody come in, take them down, take them apart, have them sandblasted, maybe powder coated or whatever they decided. And they were gonna rewire everything, run a new wire all the way around. And of course, we would help with as much as we could, but as far as the electrical goes, it'd probably be an electrician that would come in and do it. They were gonna
Possibly and move
pour-
them in closer to the.
Yeah, they're
square.
maybe possibly move them in, take out the concrete bases that are there, and redo everything. And the plan was to have an electrician come in and do it, and have somebody come in and take them all apart and take them out and have them done.
So what do you need, just a motion to approve?
You don't really, I don't think you need a I think they just want our blessing to move forward on it.
Well, wouldn't that be a motion to
I
bless
do a
it?
motion
Yeah,
to
motion.
approve.
I'll make that
Okay.
motion.
I'll second it.
Approve that.
Call for a vote?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Because the ownership's unknown completely,
Right.
right? And it's on county property.
Mhm.
Okay, superintendent's report.
Guys, if you've gotten our report, do you have any questions on anything in it that's not on the agenda?
Like your software thing.
The software I use on the GIS
Right.
mapping.
Have you done anything more on that?
I've been working on it off and on for the last couple of months. basically, I started out back at the beginning of the year. We had some new regulations come out, and they wanted materials inventory to your system. And so I started looking through our maps and going through things and looking at projects that we've done. And it's hard to figure out exactly what we've got without having them all put together. So I started in on that, and I got a quote from IRWA first and saw how much it was going to cost, and it kind of scared me for this. So, I started looking into ways to maybe do it ourselves. That's what I've come up with. Is what was in here. I'd love to show you guys. The only thing that I didn't put in there is there may be another way to do it. There's a program called Diamond Maps, and it's an online mapping, and it costs $31 a month or something like that to sign up for it. And it's basically a online GIS platform that allows us to go in and create our maps. And the only people that have access to it are the people that specify and use it. So that may be an option too. But we still have to have a way to chart our points. And in my opinion, it would be worth it to purchase some equipment and maybe software, whatever we would have to do, versus just doing a one-time shot of, I just estimated 24,000. That was the 6,500 for water only. And if we have water, sewer, gas, and storm sewers and ditches, we can go and make changes all the time if we have our own stuff. Otherwise, we're just kind of locked into what we get. Can't make changes to it. So I'm researching and trying to figure things out right now.
So that if you had the $2,500 worth of equipment, you could do
From the way I understand it, yes, it'd be like $2,000 for a GPS unit that's accurate enough to do mapping with. And what it is, a Bluetooth device that would attach to any cell phone, tablet, or laptop that had Bluetooth capabilities. So it'd probably involve a purchase of a tablet and then that device. And then, if the tablet goes obsolete in the future, anything's got Bluetooth that works. So you can just keep upgrading if you need to or whatever. But that's kind of the route I'm looking at now. Just, like I said, thinking about. I've also looked into some different software options too, as far as having the maps on the computer. So, like I said, if you guys want to see anything in detail, I can show you what I've got so far and give you an idea of what it looks like.
Do you have an estimate of when you're going to be able to make a kind of a formal presentation to us in regards to cost?
I don't. Right now I'm trying to learn a program, so that just depends on how long it's going to take me to learn if I can do what I want. I could show you guys the Diamond Maps software like tomorrow because it's online. He's got a demo map set up. You can go in. It wouldn't be Toledo. It'd be Pittsburgh, Illinois. But he's got where you can click on the layers and show. And then if you would click on a manhole, you can pull up a chart that shows depth and all these things about it. It'd be a good tool to have. Yeah, I could put something together one of these months in the future and kind of give you guys an idea of what it would look like.
Lift station?
The lift station, if there's no other questions about things that aren't on here, I'll go ahead and talk about it. I've got an item on the agenda for it. We got our permit back a couple weeks ago for the Lagoon Lift Station project. And so the plan for that is if you guys approve it tonight, we put it out for bid tomorrow. And then also tomorrow, you have to approve me to purchase the parts because we're bidding out the contractor portion, and then we're going to purchase the parts ourselves in order to maintain our parts interchangeability between all the lift stations. So I'm basically speccing what I want and guaranteeing that that's what I get, so that it matches everything else we have. And then the idea is we put it out for bid tomorrow. I'd order the parts, get those on the way. We'd have a mandatory meeting for the contractors so that everybody's on the same page, because I got to bring in straight-for pump and then the contractors so everybody knows for sure what they're expected to do. And then I think we're looking at the 18th bid letting. And then from there, we would approve it at the next board meeting. And then hopefully the parts would be in a week or two after that, because I'm 6 weeks out on pumps. So we can't start until they come in. And then hopefully it would be done by the end of October is what the projected timeline would be. As far as the purchase of the parts, I came up with, and this is the way it stands right now, it's kind of, it could change when we actually go to put things in. As of right now, it's at 22,000, I forgot my exact number here. Just a little bit over 22,000. Can't do math in my head. That would be what I would call tomorrow and say, I need these parts ordered, and they'll go ahead and turn it into an actual order, and then that way it's on the record. We can, be ready. But I want to make sure that everybody's on board with the bids, because if the bids come back extra high or something, we've already got the parts ordered. It's kind of a risk, I guess, that way.
And it's something that needs to be done.
It needs to be done, because I'm
Yeah.
running on one pump,
So-
I've been running on one pump all year, and I want to get it taken care of before winter and spring.
We're just gonna give that the motion to.
What, order parts
Get the
and
bid,
get the
Order parts and
get
get
it.
it, and put the bid
I'll make that
in.
motion.
Put out the bid.
Second.
Motion and a second, call for vote.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And if anybody wants to see the quote or anything like that on it, that's just parts.
Yes. We skipped the sidewalk, East Main Street sidewalk.
I have to go on, I guess.
I'm sorry.
It's my fault. I just thought it was
I was actually gonna go to number 4 first, but you brought up number 2, that's what I wanted. All right, so I'm gonna skip the East Main until last. I don't wanna talk about it just yet.
Okay.
Unless you want me
Item 3, Grant Street.
to. Okay. We need to talk a little bit about Grant Street. I'll kind of defer to you since you kind of dealt with it. Or unless you
Tracy was
wanna-
gonna
Defer
talk
to me.
about it.
Defer to me if you would. Okay, so originally when the various properties were sold off, the larger tract owner sold off a piece of property and granted a private easement. And that occurred on multiple occurrences. There was never any formal dedication or acceptance. In order to take over Grant Street, there would have to be a formal dedication and approval to vacate the private easements along Grant Street. So that requires multiple documents in order to accomplish. One of the things that you have as an issue is that it was not constructed nor maintained as according to the normal standards. So any dedication and acceptance of dedication would have to be notified to any adjacent property owners that this street will not be maintained or repaired according to standards due to budgetary issues. But it does take several steps in order to accomplish if the village wanted to do so.
How many residents are on? 2, okay. Only 2 properties that would have to do is what Tracy was saying?
No,
No, it's several.
Okay, how
there's
many?
one. We did not do a full title search. So I'm estimating like 4 to 5 property owners would have to authorize either a release of an private easement or a dedication. But we didn't spend the money to, go and do a complete title search. And not only did we not spend the money because we didn't have approval, it does take a significant period of time in order to to have a proper title search done.
I assume there need to be surveys and everything done as well.
Yes,
That-
you would have to have a survey, there's a cost of that as well. It'd have to be surveyed so that you had a legal description in order to dedicate.
And you're talking about the fact that the street is not as wide, Grant Street's not as wide as,
It's not as wide, I think it's a dirt or a gravel driveway that was oiled at some point in the past. And there's no base to it.
There would be no, it's not,
It's more like an alley than it is a
yeah,
street.
I was gonna say, it's like an alley, it's
Yes.
not a street.
I don't even know if it's built to the normal
It's not built
alley.
to spec for an alley either, I don't think.
And if we did nothing,
It would be private,
just, okay,
as it is right now.
okay.
It's
They-
private easements. In
Mhm.
fact, when they obtained their property, it was subject to the easement.
Mhm.
We did get those deeds. So they took the property knowing that it was with the easement. They were granted an easement along that.
In the future, if they wanted snow removal, oil, that would be up to them. Or he just happened to slip through there.
That's where, I
Right.
mean, that's where you get into,
Right.
you know.
I
what do you
generally
do?
don't make a recommendation
Right.
to go onto private property to do
No,
any.
no.
But
Um,
it became a problem when it got when it got a street sign put
They
on
got a
it.
street sign and then it got oiled, and we think that it kinda got oiled maybe just because somebody said go oil it. And that's,
And the street light that's there is actually on the
That's a
one
private.
residence.
It's private.
That's what I was
It's
understanding.
paid,
Right. And it's even across the street from her house, right?
Now there's a story to that.
Okay, I don't want,
but yes,
Okay.
it is private.
Okay.
That is paid for privately.
and since it's on an easement street, we couldn't take it over.
You could get
I mean,
you
it's,
can get a dedication of that and an easement, a utility easement for that as well. Any dedication would also need to have sufficient area for utilities. So it's not just the street that would be dedicated.
that's the other part of
utility
it.
areas.
The utilities around up there are all just service lines. There's no mains or anything up that street. As far as I know. I'll say that. We verified the water lines. There's no water line up there. It's just service lines ran to meters up there, so.
are all the meters out on?
No, they set them back. That's kind of what they used to do sometimes, set them back on private property. There's several up there in that area that are kind of like that, so set up against the house, which we don't do anymore.
And that's not abnormal for historic installation of meters, but now the practice is to put it
At the
on
street.
the road. So as far as Grant Street, if the village wanted to proceed, it would entail hiring an engineer to do some survey work, or a surveyor, excuse me, not necessarily an engineer. Surveyor to do some survey work to get a legal description necessary for not just the not just the road, but the utility area as well that would be necessary. And then perform title searches to ensure that we have all necessary parties to vacate the easement and obtain the necessary dedication.
or leave it up to the landowners at the end of the
That's the,
street.
yes, that's the other option,
If they
is to
wanted
leave it
to
as is,
continue as
it's a
it is.
private easement.
And my understanding is it's been that way since day one.
Yes.
I think the problem that you get into though is that there has been some maintenance done on it. It's not been, you know, necessarily what we would do on every other street. There has been some things that have been done.
They think that it's the village's property.
But at the same time, when they acquired the property, it was subject to, and the deeds transferred the easement. And there has not been a formal dedication. So, legal ownership is a private easement right now.
Is there like a rough guesstimate of what it would cost the village to do everything to get it up to speed?
I don't know how much a surveyor,
I'm guessing $1,000.
yeah, I'm
probably
guessing
a
probably
survey.
1,000.
Mhm.
You're talking.
Depending on how, well, that would probably be pretty extensive because you would have to survey all the properties involved, right? Most likely. There's at least 1, 2, probably 4 there would have to be.
I don't know whether you would have to, it just depends on, we didn't perform a title search. So it depends on how it all laid. Between 1,000 and 2,000 for the, survey. I'm thinking about 1,000 for the title search in order to obtain a title certification for up to, I think, 5 tracks, because you have one, you know, some of the tracks are not even attached any longer. The dominant, track isn't attached any longer, and that's who granted it. So that's who still has the ownership of the underlying property subject to the easement. So you'd have to obtain a title search on that, and then the properties that can be impacted. And there's one back in the back that we weren't able to determine completely whether or not there was a separate easement or anything. So you have that, and then you have the document prep, which again depends on how many people are involved. You have a certificate of dedication and ordinance, vacation of easements. Potentially, if there's mortgages on the property, you have to release the mortgages or get a partial release of the mortgages. So it can be extensive.
What's the benefit of doing this? Is there a benefit to the village from doing it?
No.
Keeping the
Benefits to the
peace.
2 people living on the
Keeping
street.
peace.
Right.
Keeping the,
Which I've dealt with them, one or the other, once a week, most of the summer, on this issue.
and we showed him the easement information and.
Not yet.
Not yet. We just acquired this, what
Oh,
information we do
okay.
have. So we wanted to sort of talk to you, because we don't have, without a title search, I can't say 100%, but this is what I think it is based on what I'm seeing. And we have searched the records, we don't see a formal dedication and acceptance by the village. So, you know, 99.9% sure it's private easement.
And on their copy, it doesn't indicate that? But their copy of their deed?
Their copy of their deed does indicate a private easement.
Okay.
It says they have ingress egress option.
I
Yeah.
think what maybe part of the problem is, at one time they were granted an easement, and the person that granted the easement thought, I gave that to the village. I
Yeah.
gave that street to the village, which all they did was grant an easement to the homeowner.
Right, right.
So, I mean, if I understand what I'm hearing, I
Originally,
think
though, they
that's-
knew that they were just granting an easement originally, but
Right.
as time
As-
goes by,
right.
And property owners change also.
Mhm.
I mean, you
Right.
had multiple
aging,
property owners.
shifts, ownership. The original intent, because they were just separating smaller tracts, was to keep ownership of the underlying property and just allow easements. That was what they did.
Are the ones that live there and how the original owner?
No,
No,
Yeah, by Whitaker,
the other one's
yeah,
not though.
the other one isn't.
no.
But whenever that property was acquired, that was part of the record.
Mhm.
And they're wanting potholes filled and street oiled.
With street light,
Filled potholes and-
take the street light over.
I think the general idea is that what we do is not enough as far as maintenance goes, I think. And that's what I gather.
And it's not really our place to do it to begin with.
No,
Well,
but
see,
it's
we've
been
never
done all
known.
these
Yeah, I
years,
mean,
all these years that it's been done.
When I started, I operate off what we're told, and the person for us operates off what he's told, and that's just, one of the things that we did, because we
So we've done more than basically just oil it. We've done
Not-
this for several years.
Not really, I mean, we filled potholes, but there's never been a base to the road, so when you go do it, you're just putting patch in and it'll stay for a while, and then you go back and put some in. And
Snow removal.
as far as, yeah,
Snow removal will be the big thing, if we get snow.
Yeah.
We've been kind of
which
weak the last
could
couple
we
of years.
just left the way it is and continue to do what voluntary maintenance on it?
My
Just leave it alone,
recommendation
or
is
that
to not
mandatory?
do voluntary or to
Mm.
do maintenance or repairs on private right of way.
So you'll be doing
Private easement.
mine next.
Yeah.
No, he won't.
But I understand what you're saying.
But I understand
and that-
the
that's
problem,
exactly-
but,
Right, sure.
but she's thinking 10 grand to fix a problem that's really not our problem.
Yes.
Right.
I think it could be less than that,
10?
but,
Well, by the time you figure in fixing the road,
and then you
Wow.
gotta fix the, if you're going to do
But
it.
then let me play devil's advocate here, and if, we agree that, then what happens if they say, well, this street's not as good as the street out in front that runs east and west, I want it brought up, I mean,
I told
We
her,
talked about
what
that.
and I
happens
told
if,
her that
That'd be
it
fine
would
at their
never
cost.
be like that, because it wasn't started like that in the beginning. It doesn't have the base like the other streets have. And she was fine, you know, she just wants the 23 potholes. They've counted every one of them.
in all,
And they've
in
only
all-
filled 3, she told me.
In all
the other day.
honesty, the way that road is, it would be better served to be gravel. Because you could run the box blade over it,
Mhm.
smooth it all out, and there'd be no. But
The property owners would be willing to go parts on the bill, get it, if they want it maintained to their specification. You doubt it? Then
I don't know.
I think it's something that could be asked.
yeah, I mean, it's not gonna benefit us at all. I mean, it's like just throwing it away,
Mhm.
so.
So you're probably going to make ditches and everything, right? Is that right?
Well,
I mean, if you do something, you're probably going to,
I
you're going
mean,
to
A mess is
build
what
the
she
road
said.
up if you're not going to have
Oh,
ditches.
well, we wasn't gonna build it up, was we?
No, I'm just saying, that you're going to.
Yeah, you're gonna get it up to speed. You have
I
to.
mean, you have to do that.
If we would take it, I would say that, you know, just because we take it, then we're gonna make it like every other road.
Right.
It's gonna be what it is, and that's just what it is. You know, be happy with snow plowing and filling holes. But
She just got through saying we're not doing that.
Well, but I mean,
No,
if
he's
we
saying-
took it.
He's saying if we take it.
and I didn't say you're not doing it, I said my recommendation.
Yeah, so she can recommend.
That's better.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying, Jordan. If someone comes to you and says, hey, there's a big hole south of Casey's, I mean, you will get to it, you will take care of you. If we would say, okay, we're gonna take this, but we're gonna do what we can, and we're not gonna come up there every time you say,
As time allows.
there's a
That's
new
the-
pothole.
Then you'd be going out to Larry's driveway, doing his driveway.
That's if we take it over.
Right, I'm just saying if we
See
take
what I
it
mean?
over.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That'd be great. Oil
Yeah.
my road driveway.
No.
No.
I think to proceed with this, to make this decision, I would like to know Tracy, you primarily gave us an estimate cost.
I could get
Which
a
is
better
around
idea.
$5,000. I mean, less than $5,000. But that's not counting what Jordan's thinking
For
For the work.
for the work.
like I said, if we take it over, I think, in my opinion, it should be minimal just what we've been doing.
Okay.
No, I mean, you don't need to take it and make it a 16-foot street,
Mm-mm.
because there's no point to that.
It only serves two parcels.
Then I would go back to the property owners and see if they're willing to agree to anything to help set the offset of the cost of converting it to an official street.
Oh, that would be,
Yeah.
that, the amount to official alley or street would be
Huge.
huge. You're talking 80,000?
Oh.
Something like
I can't even say, I don't.
Okay.
I think we got it figured out. Yeah, it's, he, you know, he didn't,
So what do we do? What's the plan?
Make a motion not to do anything.
yeah,
No motion.
no,
If you decide to maintain status quo, that's a private easement.
just the way, that's right. That's why I said just move on.
I know she's gonna be here by here, but
Have her come to a meeting.
Read that.
Yes.
Have her come to a meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We are receiving real estate tax on her house, is that
Yes,
correct?
yes.
And we are receiving utility revenue from both the properties, right?
Yes.
Okay. So they are giving us revenue each month plus each year on our portion of real estate taxes.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure. And those both be
So
for
how do
houses.
we-
Real estate taxes doesn't go to
Do
pay
you
for
know
private
what-
driveways.
No.
I'm not sure.
Does that conclude?
No,
Status quo.
Yep.
Everything's
As it
going
is.
to just remain as is,
as is.
As is.
All
So,
right.
as is.
So I need to stop and don't do anything else to the road about snow removal and all that stuff, I mean, nothing.
Attorney's recommendation is that.
Only for legal reasons. I wanna make that clear, you know. There's other reasons why somebody might choose to do something or not to do something, but legal reasons, liability protections, that is why I make the legal recommendation.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
so the board's decided we are not doing anything with this Grant Avenue anymore, right?
It's private easement.
Okay.
Because it is a private easement.
Right.
So does that conclude the discussion on that?
It
Yes.
does. It does.
I'll move on then.
I'll make the motion to move on.
Item number 4 on there, on the agenda, talks about the alleys and the utilities on the northeast corner of the square where the future meal center is going to be located. I've talked to you guys about some changes that I would like to make to the utilities to benefit us and will also benefit them. And then we've also kind of discussed the alley situation. As far as the alleys go, I'll have to let you talk about it because there again, I don't know exactly the legal aspect of that.
This is not 100%, but this is my drawing, I'm gonna use it, okay? It's Courthouse Square.
I understand.
Field Center, alley, okay? So, how an alley or any road that's vacated is then transferred or split up depends on how it was platted. Well, back in, way back, there was a fire or a flood, right? Back in the courthouse.
The courthouse,
all the records.
Fire.
So lost a lot of the records, but based on what we could pull, which we were able to do a pretty good job, so I'm really comfortable on this. All of this was platted, the subject area was all platted in one. So, what that would mean is that the general rule, if it were vacated, is that half would go to one side and half would go to another. Well, for the most part, Neal Center owns a big portion of that, but not all of it. For this portion, and I believe this portion. Again, we didn't go do title searches because we wanted to talk to you about how you kind of want to handle this. That's the general rule. You go half and half among the various sides. There is a rule a law that says, however, if a property owner pays consideration, it can go all to a property owner. So that is an alternative. What that consideration is, if you wanted to evaluate that option, that would be up to you. Part of the consideration is that they would have to construct XYZ. That could be part of the consideration because that adds value. But there should be some type of monetary consideration as well. Can be nominal. Additionally, in order to vacate an alley or a street, you have to have a public hearing with publication. So there's a step-by-step process, a procedure that you have to go through to do a vacation, including public hearing and an ordinance. So it's not as cut and dry that it can just automatic, is what I'm trying to say. But there's alternatives.
So you're saying they would only have to deal with 2 property owners to get their half? Basically.
No, they don't have to pay those property owners consideration. The village, they'd pay the village consideration. Those property owners wouldn't have to be involved. Now, they could come to the public hearing.
Okay.
Well,
What's the board's feelings on vacating?
That's fine.
we're all for it.
And it would reserve various easements as well.
Yeah, there'd be easements written into that for the existing utilities that we have, and if there was ever a possibility that we did need to put something in there, I assume that could also be written in.
Yes, you just reserve the
Yeah.
utility easement through the entire portion. You can do that.
And when we initially started talking about this, I was opposed to getting rid of the alleys because there was a water main there. But, you know, I've looked through everything, and pulling that piece of water main out is not gonna do any harm to anyone, and it's actually gonna benefit us because it's old cast iron pipe that was on the original plan from 1925 or 23 that I found the other day, so.
So is that all that is in there?
Yeah,
Is that
when the old buildings were there was actually services that ran off of that main.
right?
And then there's a fire hydrant on the square. Well, we could pull that all out, and there's no services there anymore. And the only thing that they're gonna need is we would just stub across a 4-inch main for them to use for the meal center. And that would eliminate a possible problem in the future, or a likely problem, really, with that being cast and from 1925, it's coming up on 100 years old here before too much longer. So,
But if we do that, and you take the hydrant out, that just leaves the one
there
by the fire hall for fire protection on the square?
no, there's one by the fire hall, there's one over here by the IGA, there's one on the backside of the city lot, there's one right out here, out front, there's one over at 3B's, there's one at the annex. So it'd pretty well be covered, plus there's one, let's see, there's one at Jefferson, Indiana, then there's one, is there one at the car apartments?
Car apartments.
Yeah, there's one there too, so, and then, yeah, IGA. So there's adequate coverage, and we talked about pulling that one out and then putting another one in, but in order to do that, I think if that building ever catches on fire, it's gonna be so close that it's gonna be too close. You know, you're gonna have, it's a big building, and it's pretty much out to the edge of the property. And I talked about it with Chuck, fire chief, to make sure that there would be adequate coverage there, and they're gonna have sprinklers in there also. But I kind of discussed that with Roger, and you know, if that's something, if it's so long as the utilities are out of the way and we've got proper easements and everything for that, from my standpoint, I see no reason to hold on to them. Because from the designs that I've seen, they need all that parking, so.
Yes, absolutely.
Whatever's quick and easy and not a major cost to either of us.
We don't have to do a legal description because I can I can make the legal, so you don't have to have it surveyed. So that's good. Whenever they're from here to here, without kind of jogging around, I don't have to, I can make my own legal.
Tracy, I've got that, actually, we had the Gentry property surveyed, K&L surveyed, and that whole block surveyed. So that's all that's left is that
those
was in the
two.
middle there.
But
So I
it kind of,
I've kinda got that.
it would just have to be just the alleys that
Yeah.
we described.
Yeah.
So, again, we don't have to have anything formal, we can just say the alley running this and this, between this road and this road. It's not. Or between these lots, or these blocks. Again, I haven't decided how I'm gonna describe it, but it's something as simple as that. Set that for hearing, and then,
So you need a motion to proceed with that? No?
I mean, you can just give direction, that, because the formal motion would occur after
It's all done.
it's all done.
Okay. The straw poll said, looks like it's okay.
And I assume that also incorporates the utility improvements also, that I can kind of start looking into seeing what's going to get those done as well.
Did you make that motion, John?
There's no
We're not
motion.
doing
Oh.
a formal motion.
Oh, okay.
Not when you're not doing the
Okay,
action.
so I've been instructed
Directed, yeah.
Pay me later.
to continue, okay.
So, can I ask one question? Do you have any idea how long it would be for the hearing and all that, Tracy, for our?
Well, they,
Our time
they
here.
only meet, once a month, so,
Okay.
that'd be good, yeah.
Can we do it then? Okay.
We do like prior to the board meeting.
Just right before.
Actually, you do roll call and then you do
Mhm.
public hearing.
Oh, okay. We
Yeah.
don't have to have a separate one then.
No.
Okay, okay, good.
So the November, 1 pipe dream is still.
Still alive.
Okay, Jordan, I think there's one more
One more,
item.
okay.
Yeah.
It's the East Main sidewalk to Dollar General. If you remember last month, we had a citizen say that he wanted to get some things rolling for it, and he made some phone calls and kind of got a meeting set up with certain people who were supposed to be there, and some of them didn't come. So it ended up that Larry Stoltz and I were there, and we kind of have decided that what we need to know is we need formal approval to proceed in paying Charleston Engineering to do the engineering for the project. The idea is that until we have a firm project in place, a plan, and actually have drawings and, things that we can submit to the state, try to get approval from the state. We have to get all that stuff done before we could ever proceed with trying to come up with funding
From IDOT.
from IDOT or the state or various, whatever sources.
You're basically talking from the Life Center.
It would be that sidewalk that needs constructed from where it ends at the Life Center to the Dollar
To the
General.
Dollar
The
General.
main concern
Is
is
the-
the big ravine.
Right.
With all the drainage problems that's
Mhm.
there, and it's all on state right of way. But in order for us to do anything, we're probably, I don't know how that's gonna all work. We gotta get them to approve of whatever we do, so. Basically, that's what I guess we need, right, Larry? That's what we decided.
That's right. As the bid plan indicated, until we get a Roger Charleston to approve some plans, then IDOT and whomever else gets involved in this, they can't do anything, or they will not do anything until we actually see plans.
Mhm.
So
And
if we proceed with it, it will all have to come from a formal bid letting, because volunteer labor, volunteer monies and so forth will not be acceptable, because it is a village thing and we have to go by
well,
all the rules and regulations. But nothing can be done until we get site plans.
it's not legal to allow it, because you have to, for one example, you must pay prevailing wage.
Right.
You can't get around that by volunteer. I wish that we could, because so many small municipalities could get so much stuff done, but you can't.
So that's where we're at. And I asked Jordan to put it on the agenda because we, you know, to proceed with anything, we've got to have documentation paperwork.
And there has been, the state was supposed to be at the meeting, and like I said, didn't come. But when they caught wind of it, I think they contacted Roger Charleston, somebody did, and said, you know, just heads up, I think it's coming around again, and then I contacted him. And so there has been some preliminary conversation between Roger and the state, and there will be a meeting at some point if you guys go ahead and say, let's do this. And, but the funny thing is he'll ask a question. Roger will ask a simple question in the email, and they'll dodge. You never get a straight answer. So, I mean, that's kind of what
From the state?
From the state, yeah. That's kind of what we've been dealing with. Like as simple as how far off of edge of pavement we need to set this, and there's no answer. It's just like. But you know, we had an original plan last. I think it's been a year and a half ago or so, where it was going to be on the edge of the road and as far off as we get it without going into the drainage ditch. And the state said, no, that's not going to work. So, you know, we kind of tried, but I think from here is you got to figure out what's going on with that drainage issue there. There's multiple issues with it, not just one. So. I think that's the next step.
I think Ben was talking about maybe a retaining wall, instead of filling it all in, but a retaining wall to support. But, you know, again, you can't do anything until they have some site plans. So
we can't run the sidewalk even down to the drainage and stop it there for the time being.
Possibly could, but we're probably gonna have to do private easements through there and get everybody to allow us to put it on private property in order to do that, which, you know, people out there have expressed that they'd be willing to do. But, you know, there goes, you got more things involved there that you've got to get.
First two are
taken
easy.
care of. Yeah, they've already volunteered.
So,
I was kind of wanting to.
Three.
Really, I don't think anybody would be opposed to it. The only one would be a rental house. So,
there's actually a problem there at the rental house and the jail last one's too. The drainage.
Multiple drainage issues that fall in the state that need to be addressed. And have to be addressed,
So what do we, is that still cuts, is that one place?
What do we,
Walkies.
Walking?
so
So I guess
You just asked them to
yeah,
do a
we
site
just,
plan.
we need approval to get Roger to draw us up something and then proceed with the state and try to figure out what they're gonna approve. And,
Once he does that, how long is that good for?
like
the
as
water
long as
line,
you keep
maybe
your
once you-
permits up to
Okay.
date, it's good. And that's what we're doing with the water line project, is we just keep the.
Don't waste
renewing
that
the permit.
engineering fee.
right, that was my concern.
Right. How long-
Once
as long as you
it's
keep it up.
drawn.
So you need a motion for a site plan?
Yes.
I'll make that.
Motion to.
I'll second it.
Contract.
Mhm.
Charleston.
Charles, yeah.
Mhm.
Call for vote?
Yes.
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 You finally done?
I think I'm done. We're gonna go through all.
Hey,
Thank you all.
thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Unless anybody's got any questions.
For me.
Yeah.
And if you do, you can ask me tomorrow. Because I don't want to talk anymore.
Daniel's gonna do the police report, but evidently
He just got a call.
he got called away, so you have it. You have it there. No, it's,
Oh, I mean, it's on the agenda.
so, no, we're still on order.
Yeah.
Daniel actually put this together.
He did.
Yes.
He does.
Yes. He did this one, yes, yes.
We
So,
didn't have one.
right.
Can we get the mileages on here? Don't see them, because they're not on there. They wasn't on there last one either.
Well, Chris
Chris did it last month. This is the first
You
time they've
mean-
done it.
He might be coming back there.
The gallons.
Well, there's
but
the fuel.
miles.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. All right, well, there's Daniel.
What'd I do?
Okay.
Police report,
Oh. I don't know that. I don't know the same way. So,
just looking at it right now.
Does anybody have any questions other than the mileage? You got the fuel.
forgot the mileage. Okay. No big mistake, sorry.
That's okay. Anybody have any other questions for Daniel? Comments?
I know I'm 70 miles from breaking 40,000 on the squad car.
On the canine car.
Yeah. And the other one was only drove 3 times, so.
Okay. Treasurer's report.
Anybody have any questions on the reports? Okay, I have 2 bills for middle of the month. Van Dyke metal culverts for plastic pipe, $592. Toledo American Legion for our new flag, $137.70.
Okay.
I'd like to pay those 2 middle of the month.
I'll make a motion to.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and in the packet I had the flyer that I had typed up for the electronic recycling. I set the date for Saturday, September the 30th, if that is okay with everyone.
Right.
I approve of this one. Yeah, we need to approve it.
And we'll have supervision there.
The boys, yes, the boys, yeah, because they don't have anybody there. They just bring the trailers down, so our guys will be there from 7 to 12.
Can you take their salary out of your, garbage?
No, that's too complicated.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
question.
So you need a motion to accept the September 30th, 7 to 12 electronic
Recycling program.
program. I'll make that.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second for the electronic recycling.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And then last month I talked to you about replacing the interior doors with a more secure door. And we had, at that time, I had I had contacted 3 different contractors, and this was the only one that could get to us. And he was going to replace 6 of them, and we decided to get a price on what it would be to replace 2. So replacing 2 doors with, it'll be the metal jamb, and he'll paint the doors and all that, would be $2,025.
And this is the one coming in, or,
The middle room door
right?
and the police door,
Okay.
because the police door has the deadbolt on that interior hollow
Oh,
core
oh.
door.
That was for the police.
For the police and for this middle room. Mhm.
Is there a glass in either one of them?
No,
All right.
no.
So the police fund will pay for that one door?
Yes, it can, yes.
Well, they just made $4,300 a percentage of it, so
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with that.
Well,
No?
well, I'm just gonna say, when that money seized from the state, it will have stipulations that can be only used for
What it
narcotics.
can be used for.
Yeah, it'll have stipulations.
Yeah. Well, we're locking up the,
Locking up the narcotics, I guess.
yeah,
There
you
you
have
go.
the narcotics in there, so
guns.
yeah. are
Evidence.
locking up the narcotics. But, if you guys approve, have these 2 doors replaced, and I get Rob here to do these, there are a couple other little projects that I'd like for him to do that he doesn't know about yet.
So you're gonna slide those in on that bed?
No, probably
Oh.
not, they're gonna be extra. But once I get him here, I'm gonna be like, okay, while you're here, can you do this, or, I'd like a shelf out here in the foyer. I mean, they're just little things, under the bulletin board, a shelf like we have in here, so we can put the pamphlets and stuff up on there. I want a picture, rail thing to put these pictures on out here in the hallway, which you make out of 1x and screw it up there, and then the pictures just sit rather than hang crooked on the walls. Some small things. So it
Something you could purchase, but then put them up, like Chuck and Kevin just volunteered. to put 'em up.
well, he would have to build the chair or the picture rail thing.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah, and then you just screw it up there. I mean, it wouldn't only take him 10 minutes to screw it up there. But, and we need to hang our mayor pictures up someday, and I thought about putting one of those up in here. But, no, he would make it. It's just made out of 1x, and then we painted the color of the wall. Me and Joyce would paint it the color of the wall, and then your pictures would just sit up in that.
right,
We
right.
did some of
Looks
that.
like you ever did give her pleasure.
But anyway, you know, I'm sure it wanted that to maybe a couple $100 more, you know, to do the things, if that. But
If you're gonna guarantee that the police store will be paid out of police funds,
I'm gonna pay for the police store out of police
The
fund.
police fund wasn't a whole lot of old time anyway.
I know,
That's why I heard it here.
they
okay.
say gas, they only used 6 gallon last month, and that one, that'll pay for one. Yeah. I'll make the motion if that's the case.
Okay.
I'll second
And that's all I think I have. Yeah.
Motion and a second. This was on the doors, right?
Right.
Contract, okay.
Two
On
doors.
the,
Two
two
doors.
interior
That's the
doors.
locks and everything.
Right,
in those.
to be replaced. Call for vote.
it. Yes.
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 I'll do it.
Okay. Clerk's report.
The only thing I have, everybody got a copy of the proposed amendment to the animal control ordinance. Any questions?
This deals with the hen
Right.
regulations.
Either so many hens or no rooster regulations, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, they're to be cooped in the back of the property.
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Number 395.
Number 395? No,
No.
it's not numbered.
It's not
Oh,
numbered right
I
now.
just
That's
looked
the amended
motion.
ordinance.
Ordinance, oh, that's the
There's
old
not a
one.
number.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever number it is.
We have a motion and a second to approve the, I'm gonna call it the hen ordinance, for lack of a better,
Yes.
yeah. Call for vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Did you see the Decatur paper said, not Decatur, yeah. Metton Decatur paper had a whole article on backyard chickens, and 6 is the normal amount.
I did
So-
notice that as well, and looking at a couple others. I was on- My husband was driving and I was researching chickens.
Good for you.
Okay.
As long as you weren't driving.
Yeah.
Down to the
That's all I
public,
have.
public comment section. Is there any public comments?
You wanna go first?
Go ahead.
Okay, I got a couple things. At the July meeting, the concrete bids were
Fill one
discussed.
out.
What was that?
Did you fill out a speaker card?
Yeah, top one.
Okay. If everyone could just make sure that gets to the clerk. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, at the July meeting, the concrete bid was discussed, and a person on Facebook sent me the bid letting information that you had provided. After looking at it, I believe it does not have enough information in it to meet the requirements, mainly because if an outside person looks at the bid letting information, they're gonna see the same thing I did, which is that one bid come in at $5 and one bid come at $5.32 per unit. And the 532 bid won the bid almost $4,000 cheaper. Last time I checked, a $5 bid versus a 532 would be the other way around. It wasn't until I got the actual bids themselves sent to me that I could see the reasoning between the differences in the price. And I just think that the actual bid
Which I
letting.
think you FOIA'd that information from me, right?
No, somebody sent it to me.
Okay.
But the actual bid letting information needs to have this other information in it in order to see it correctly. Because if you looked at this, it would just state that a $5 bid is more expensive than a $5.32 bid for the same project. And that doesn't add up in my books, at least.
The unit price of the.
Right, but if that was the bid letting information, it should have had the other stuff itemized on it, or, you know, at least stating that other units to show that there was a difference for that price to come out that way. And then the other thing I was going to talk about is, do you believe that laws and ordinances apply to everybody? I'm sure everybody does. At the ordinance meeting or committee meeting that they held last month or month before, I talked with them about Mr. Hanley having animals, farm animals, within the city limits. He's got cows and hogs within city limits. And I checked his deeds and annexation records to make sure I was correct in my assumption. And in my opinion, if he wants to have the animals, he should move them outside of the city limit onto the back portion of his property, because if you are paying him to enforce ordinances against people, and he's not enforcing the ordinance against himself, that is very unfair to the people that have had ordinance violations pushed against them. Because everybody should follow the same set of rules if you have them. I mean, do you guys not agree that everybody applies? And then also, just about the machinery and stuff sitting around there, does that fall underneath the garbage and rubbish ordinance that you guys have on file? I've not read the full ordinance yet to make sure. I was just curious about that portion. But I do know that the farm animal ordinance is being violated by his cows and hogs because of where they're located. And that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Okay, Daniel Hanley.
All right, first off, on the ordinances, as soon as the ordinances were notified to me, my livestock are not on city limits. My hogs have never been on city limits, and I spent over $1,000 on fencing now to make sure my cows are not on city limits. All of my livestock trailers up front have license and plates on them, which allows them to be legal in city limits, and my farm machinery is on the back half of the property, which is country. Just wanted to let you know that I am trying to abide by the law. My stuff is up to date.
I don't think there's any other big parts.
No, there's not. I would like to go into a short closed session meeting regarding personnel.
You have to name section 2C1.
Okay. I'll be right back. Personnel,
Do one for me,
section
too.
2C1.
Gotta go.
Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Call for vote.
Yes.
Ryan made the motion, Shorty second. We gotta wait on something to get back. We must have to.
Have you guys done the vote yet?
No, not yet.
Oh.
Steps to that. Nelson, can't put steps to that. Walk around by him. It's right there. If she rolls over, so I'll come in my ear.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to go into closed session, section 2C1. Call for vote?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody gets seated, I'm sorry. Guess I'm in a hurry.
Larry went to the restroom.
If think these people have kids, I'm way they're blind.
The old one.
I've had kids. I'm about to burst.
There is a women's, right? It's not like it's an out-out.
I don't mind using that.
A little more sophisticated.
I was at the MVP this weekend.
Oh, God. Where's your credibility?
It was at,
You want that Jeep run?
Try to find an attorney.
Yeah. You want that Jeep run?
Jeep
Jumping
run.
on the trampoline. Yeah.
I did not do that. There was a little kid with an it clown mask on there, and I'm like, I will not be going in there.
I heard they had a big turnout.
Yeah.
There's a
Terrible.
benefit.
It's a terrible event.
Oh, that's cool.
For Rett syndrome.
I had to Google that because I did not know what Rett was.
Yeah. Actually did that.
Yeah.
Not before I worked for that group.
Okay. We came out of executive session with no action taken.
I think you do a roll call again.
Oh, okay.
Ingram,
Yes.
Duval,
Yes.
Titus,
Yes.
Markwell,
Yes.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that.
Also second.
Shorty. Call for vote?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much.